And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
I often joke how people put two ideas and mishmash them together. Let's mix Monopoly and Risk. Let's mix Candyland and Chutes and Ladders. Well, here's a game, Catacombs, which mixes dexterity with a dungeon crawl. Now, you would think that that doesn't work. And indeed, when I first heard about it, I thought, huh? You know, really? What are we really going to see here? That those elements don't seem to fit together well. But we may be surprised. Okay, I like it. Let's look at it. Up to 1 to 4 people play the good guys. The barbarian, the wizard, the elf, and the thief. Insert lots of cheers and applause here for the good guys. Each of these characters has their own disc, and some of them have more than one disc. For example, the elf comes with 2 small yellow discs, which count as its arrows, and the wizard, who probably is the most interesting character to play, comes with a purple disc that will be used as a barrier spell, a fireball spell that they'll be able to play during the course of the game. And then a small, of course, magic missile with which you can attack the darkness, and even a little skeleton that you can use as a summoned creature. Each of these characters will have a little cube used to measure their health, and they go through the dungeon. Now, the dungeon is made up of a bunch of room cards. Each of these room cards, they're put in a certain order by the dungeon lord, and the dungeon lord is going to be picked by the players to see if they want to fight either the terrible and evil lich, or the evil and terrible dragon, or the evil and evil gorgon, or the terrible and terrible sorcerer. Those are the choices. Players pick one of those, and they go through each room. So, you turn over the first room card, and you see what kind of room you'll be facing. You look at the background of the card to see what kind of background you'll be using, and these show the monsters. Whew, that's a lot of skeletons. First, the room is put on the table. Now, the game comes with 3 boards, each which are double-sided, so you have 6 different kinds of rooms. So let's say this is the room here, and these holes in the board are basically spots to put these round black blocks there, which are basically just barriers. Then, the good guys set their characters up behind the line here. You can see this line here, and that's basically where the good guys will start. So each of the good guys starts behind this line, and they get ready to go in and fight for honor and for glory. The bad guy then will take whichever bad guys the scenario gives him, and he'll put them behind the white line back here. So let's say this, for some reason, this one needs a lot of these skeletons and zombie cards. Now, some of these characters have special abilities, and the game comes with a deck of cards for the monsters that show what each monster does. For example, here's a monster that shows a crypt spider. How the crypt spider works, shows how many hit points it takes to kill it, shows its special ability that it might have. And the game also comes with a deck of wizard spells, which are given to the wizard, and they show different spells that he can cast once per game. So the good guys are ready to go, and the bad guys are ready to go, and it's time to start flicking. Now, on the player's turn, each of them can go one time, and they simply take their disc and they flick it. Now, of course, hopefully you're not going to flick as wimpily as I just did there. That's equivalent to the barbarian saying, hey! But a flick is a melee attack. So, let's say the barbarian shoots there. Notice he hit both this guy and this guy in one shot, which means he gave them both 1 wound. Now, in the instance of the skeleton, 1 wound kills it. In the instance of this ghoul here, 1 wound kills that. But let's say, for example, he hit this giant troll here. Instead of killing him, we just turn it over to the other side to show that it had taken 1 point, and it's sitting right here ready to hit him back. Now, some of the creatures, as I mentioned before, it will have ranged. Let's say there's a ranged skeleton archer here. Instead of the skeleton archer shooting at the person, he can instead use a disc and shoot that disc across as an arrow. And the wizard also has spells, and there's different things that will be flying all over the place as people shoot at each other with these discs. If you shoot off the board, you simply come back on where you went off the board and the game continues. Each of the characters has special abilities. The barbarian can rage, attacking 4 times. The elf has the ranged attack that she can use. The thief gets extra money when she kills people, and she has a chance to move twice as long as she doesn't kill anything either time. So there's different abilities that players have, and once they clear the room of monsters, as long as they survive, they go to the next room, and they're trying to get to the final room where they will face the big bad evil dread enemy and its group of minions. And some of these minions are much worse than other groups, but eventually it comes down to you versus the bad guy. You beat him, you win. Otherwise, the guy controlling the monsters wins. And there's a lot of fun, a lot of variety. Like I said, there's multiple boards with different backgrounds, although this background does look a bit like they just took it off of the set backgrounds in PowerPoint. But still, most of it looks very fun and interesting, and you'll find that there's a good variety of rooms in the game to play. Halfway through the dungeon, players have a chance to buy different items from an item card deck. They will be able to add these items, for example, a magic quiver, which gives the elf an extra arrow, and later on, close to the end, they have a chance to pay money to heal some of their victory points. As they kill monsters during the course of the game, they'll get money that they will be able to use on these items and on the healing. So it's players versus the bad guy. One of them is going to win. You might be the most skilled dungeon master in existence, and yet if you can't flick a disc across the board, you're going to do very poorly in this game. I found that out to my chagrin. Not that I'm a great dungeon master, but I'm certainly a poor flicker of the discs. It does seem like it's weighted a little bit against the heroes, that the rooms get progressively harder. The heroes really can't afford to make any mistakes. There's a few niggling problems I have with it. Like, for example, the item cards. There's a certain random selection of them available. And if the item cards that match your hero don't show up in a game, it's not as much fun to control yours as maybe the guy who got the great weapons. The barbarian gets his throwing axe and such, and he has different things he can do, and nothing showed up for me. And like I said, I think the wizard is the most fun character to play due just to the sheer variety that they have of different things going on. But still, the game does provide a lot of variety in the monsters. The monsters have different feels. You have the trolls who will regenerate unless you hit them twice in the same turn. You have fire elementals that when you hit them, they turn into a ball of fire. And if you hit them in the future, you will take damage from hitting them. Hitting your own discs does not do damage, which is a relief since it happens all the time. But it's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of variety, and you can definitely see that this game is just begging for expansions with new rooms and new monsters and maybe even new heroes and definitely more rooms that you can put in. But at the same time, I don't want it to be any bigger, maybe more variety, but I don't want it to be any bigger than it is. The game takes about 45 minutes to play at this point in time, and that's perfect. It's a fun game, but once you're done with 45 minutes, I think you'll be done with flicking for the day. You're not going to want to keep, go on and play a 45-hour campaign in the Catacombs. No, it's just a simple dungeon flicker, but it's not rolling dice or anything. You're flicking things around, and you're having a good time. Catacombs is an excellent game. It can be played by young. It can be played by adults working together. But at its heart, it's I would say a middle game, maybe even going to a lighter game, something to pass the time. It's well designed, good artwork, except for that green room, and it's just a neat idea. Definitely worth the novelty. Check it out.
Thanks for joining us today. For more written, audio, and video reviews, as well as the #1 board game podcast, check out the website at www.thedicetower.com. Until then, this is Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.